Good morning and welcome to Beitzah Daf Yomi, Beitzah 34. Everybody knows, I'm sure you've heard about my new video that debuted last night about the new shiurim in the Torah. We're no longer comfortable just with the Chazon Ish shiur, Moshe Feinstein. We've got two new shiurim. We got for the Machmirim and for the Mekilim. We got for the Machmirim, we got the Langa shiur, the long shiur. And for the Mekilim, we have the Benzi shiur. Check out the video. It's going viral. I'm telling you right now, it's going viral. If it's not going viral, there's problems with people's sense of humor. You don't find funny what really is funny. Right, Jamal? Okay. I'm going to start here. Daf Yomi Amar Aleph. Top. Darsa Ushatar for Bakozo. Oshiritza Behema Ufacheses. Vishasa Me'esleis. Vishachtak Shera. We're talking about a bird over here. We'll see how this relates to Yom Tov. If something stepped on a bird, or something knocked it into a wall, or an animal, hit into it, V'racheses, and the bird is moving all around, and still it lived for 24 hours. And then you shecht it. It's kosher. It's a good sheval shechida. We don't assume it's treif. Amar Elazar bar Yana mishum Reb Elazar ben Adignus tzricha b'dika. You have to check it afterwards, after you shecht it, to assume to see if it's a treifa or not, or worry that because it got knocked into, it might be a treifa. Let's say it got stepped on or it got knocked into, this bird, on Yom Tov. And it lasted 24 hours before Yom Tov this happened. It got knocked into, and now it's 24 hours have elapsed. It hasn't died yet, so it's not a treifa. Can you shecht it on Yom Tov? Mi machzakin reused to be Yom Tov, although do we assume that maybe there's going to be a problem? He's going to have to check. We know the halakha is you have to check it after you shecht it. So maybe it's a treifa. Maybe he shechted for ochel nefesh. You can't eat it. You can only shecht for ochel nefesh. You're allowed to eat it. You can't eat it. Well, the klavim, you can't feed it to the dogs. That's not considered ochel nefesh. It has to be that human consumption by a Jew. So maybe we're worried it's going to be a treifa. The Mishnah says, we learned the previous Mishnah, you can't heat up tiles to roast food on it, egg on it, let's say. We asked, what's the problem to heat up tiles? We're talking about new tiles over here because they might crack when you heat them up for the first time. And therefore it'll be a tircha lo tzarich. So you see, they were worried that same thing when you shecht the animal might be a treifa. So we shouldn't be allowed to shecht the animal, the bird. He says, maybe we could be matir this to shecht this bird or animal. And the Mishnah, which talks about heating up the tiles, that it's usher not because we're concerned it's going to be cracked, but really because you're hardening the tiles. You're doing a gemar malacha, it's tikkun moneh. It's not allowed on Yom Tov. It's only machshirei ochel nefesh. Tanya, echad maybe as a or echad maybe as a eitzah. Echad shofis is a k'deir. Echad maybe as a mayim. Echad nosim b'telchos tavla. Echad mihagis kulon chayavim. Let's say someone heats up a fire, right, and then he brings wood and he burns them to avara, and then he puts the k'deir on. We'll see what the problem is. And then he brings water, so he's cooking the water. Then he puts tavla, he puts spices, and he cooks the spice. V'echad magis, and he stirs it. We know stirring from Mezrach Shabbos is considered a form of bishul. Kulon chayavim. They're all six of them are chayiv. Tanya, but the Beitzah says ha'achron chayiv kulon p'turim. A different Beitzah says only the last one is chayiv. They're all patur. Lo kash. Had the icy or mikara had the icy or the baso. If you started lighting the fire, so then as we saw in the progression that everyone's chayiv. But if you put a pot on a stove, let's say, and then you put all the water and you put the tavla in and you stirred it, you mixed it well, and then you put some wood, and then you lit the fire. The only one we chayiv is the person who lit the fire, because everything else was done beforehand. Okay. Bishlam akulu ka'avni ma'isa. Fine. In the first case, we said all six of them are chayiv. All of them, you're doing bishul, you're doing a malacha or avarel. A shofet is like there, my God. But you put a pot, an empty pot on the fire. What are you doing? What malacha are you doing? We're talking about a new earthenware kli over here. Like we said in the Mishnah, because you're going to be masakin, you're hardening the tiles, You're doing Gemar Malach on the tiles. You're also doing Gemar Malach on the pot over here. Tikkun Mana, it's a problem on Yom Tov. Tanar Banan, Tanar Vikirayim, Chadash and Marain can call a Kalim when he told him a new stove, a new oven. They're like any kalim which are not muksa. But you can't anoint them with oil. You can't wipe them with a wet cloth. And you can't pour cold water on them when it's cooking in order to inaugurate these tiles, in order to harden them. But if you're doing it because you already have bread in the oven, and you're pouring the hot water on it to harden it, so then even though you're doing tikkun mana, but because ochel nefesh is happening right then at that point, it's not going to happen like later on. So it's not considered machshir ochel nefesh, it's considered ochel nefesh, and it'll be mudra. Obviously here we're talking about tikkun mana rabbanan over here. Tikkun mana is not allowed for ochel nefesh, but to Reuven is to rabbanan it would be allowed. Taner rabbanan. Shmuel, how you like the shir so far today?
So
We're flying right through with flying colors, right? Shmuel, what did you think about my my new video last night? You saw it? You saw part of it. I showed you part of it. What did you think about it?
It's getting, I'm warming up to it. It takes time to.
2 thumbs up.
I'm getting a little bit more, right?
It was pretty good. I have to say, it was one of my better videos. Probably my best video.
It's a little bit.
What's your criticism? Let's
No,
hear.
it's like sarcastic.
Sarcastic, of course, it's a joke. I had this guy from yesterday, my friend over here, Yeshaya Pick. He's a scion of the famous Pick / Berlin family from Germany, who lived in the time of the Vilna Gaon in the 1720s and 1790s. And he did the Hagos HaShas. He put, in the Masoras HaShas, he put the brackets, he annotated the Talmud and told you where the sources for various things in the Talmud are.
Annotated.
I made notes. Anyway, he's very famous. He made it to Wikipedia, so he's pretty famous. Made it to Wikipedia, and his great a lot of grandsons one after. He's actually lived in Tulsa in the past 6 years. He knows my father-in-law. He refused to appear with his face on there, but I talked to him today. We had a reconciliation. We became friends. I showed him some of my video, and he liked it. The only problem is he thought it was serious, though. He really thought the new shear for Kiddush is an entire bottle of Kedem grape juice, which is around 2 liters. He really took it seriously. Can you believe that, Shmuel? Someone took that seriously. You'll have to know me. You know that I joke around, right, Shmuel?
Right.
Okay, good. All right. Tan Rabbanan, Molgan es harosh v'es haraglayim. So you have an animal, and before you cook it, you want to take off its hair. So you're allowed to scald it with hot water, the head and the feet. Mahavin of, or you can burn it with fire. But you can't spread on it this type of cream which takes out the hairs. Not with earth, not with plaster, and goes in on misparayim. You can't use scissors to cut off, that's uvim dechol. And goes in as a yerek, does porah shalom. You can't cut off dried leaves off a fruit, because people are going to think you picked it today. I don't know, the article doesn't explain what kundus and achbayos are. You have any idea, Shmuel, what these things are? Something I have planned, we'll say it's like talk about lettuce and parsley. I'll just make it up. You can take off the bad leaves because therefore it's really like camouflaged in, so it's not really recognizable what you're doing. Masikin open with porni. You can light a big oven. This is an oven that has an opening on the side. You're allowed to heat up water in an urn. And open with porni chadash shematifachis. But you can't use a new stove with the opening from the side because it might break. And like we said, if it breaks, then you're going to and that's asar on Yom Tov. You can't blow fire with a bellows. That's open the chol. With a small tube, you could do it. You could cause a fire to be enlarged. You have a stoke, a spit that was used to roast food on it. You can't fix it if it broke. So you can't sharpen it. It's all machshir achal nefesh. You can't take a reed and use it as paper to put it on top of a grill. on the grates of the grill. Mafatzin es ha'egos and matlas. But you could crack open a nut with a handkerchief, with a napkin. We're not worried the napkin's going to rip, and it'll be a malacha. Mishnah. A person stands ala muksa. We'll see what exactly muksa is. Those are the fruits that he wants that are not prepared yet. They're not ready to eat yet. Erev Shabbos b'Shvius. Relevant to this year. This is Shvius. He's Erev Shabbos. One of these Erev Shabbos during this year. Omer mikani ochel amachar. You can say he has, like, say, 10 fruits or whatever, 100 fruits. From these fruits, we're going to eat tomorrow. So he removes the muksa status. And we know that during Shvius, there's no chiyuv of Trumas and Maestros, right? So therefore, there's only a problem of muksa. Because muksa, these fruits are not ready to eat. They're drying out. So if he designates them, then it's okay. And there's no problem of Trumas and Maestros, even though we're going to see Shabbos, Shabbos makes something permanent, makes it into a permanent meal regarding foods, because of, we'll see in that in the Gemara. It's still not a problem because no chiyuv of Trumas Maestros on Shvi. That's why the Mishnah is Shvius. You have to actually designate specifically which fruits you want to eat. Otherwise, it's going to be a problem of breira, and they don't hold a breira over here. And Lezer holds a breira. That's why he says you can just generally say whatever here's the tomorrow, and then pick whichever one you want. We learned over there in the Mishnah Maisos, Tinoko shetibnu te'enim erev Shabbos v'shikhu v'lo yisru. They stored away figs erev Shabbos. They hid them away. No one knows where they are. People forgot about them, and they didn't take a trumas and Maisos. The Motzi Shabbos lo yichlu elim kain isru. On Motzi Shabbos, you can't eat until you do trumas and Maisos. And also on Shabbos, you can't eat them because even if you found them on Shabbos, because you can't take trumas and Maisos on Shabbos. And the chiddush of this Mishnah is that Shabbos is koveya l'trumas and Maisos. Normally, trumas and Maisos, you need a certain thing. You need a gemar malacha to be koveya to make it into tevel, and you have to take a trumas and Maisos. Otherwise, you can snack on food, on produce before it's gemar malacha. Shabbos, even though there's no gemar malacha, we'll see there's koveya l'trumas and Maisos. Mistan nami hamavir te'inim b'chatzero liksos bon likatzos. He brings figs in his field to dry out. So his family is allowed to eat them as a snack, and they're pater from Trumas and Maisos. The reason being because it wasn't Nigmar Malach, even though he brought it to your Chatzar. Rav Nachman, Shabbos Maush, the cover Muksa Lamaisa. The Davar Shal Nigmar Malach, though. If the Mishnah is not clear whether it's Nigmar Malach or not Nigmar Malach, though, what about if it's unprocessed, not finished yet, the Nigmar Malacha and the foods? You're still drying them out. So the Shabbos would be Koveya to not allow you, disallow you to eat a snack from these without taking Trumas and Maisos. Miyam Rinan. Came on the Chsiv. The Karasa the Shabbos only. Why'd you turn the page?
I wanted to read.
You read the English.
No, I'm reading the Gemara.
Okay. That's beautiful. We have one side Gemara, one side English for Shmuel. Shmuel has a degree, PhD in reading English. He has a PhD in reading English. You know what a PhD stands for? A philosopher's degree. He has a philosopher's degree in. That's higher than a master's degree. The master's, the first is a bachelor's, then a master's, then a PhD. Philosopher's degree after a thesis. It's a very complicated thing. It's a very distinguished feat to have a PhD. So he has a PhD in reading English. Can you believe it? All the way from Yale. He got it at Yale. New Haven, Connecticut. Yeah, Yale. Yeah. Yale. Y-A-L-E.
It's a funny name.
All right. So the Gemara says
Name of a person? What is he?
it's a college. It's one of the most prestigious colleges in all of the world. Definitely in America. Ivy League college, competition with Harvard. Yale.
Yeah.
Yeah, Yale. They
They
have a special policy. They accept people. Their name is Yael. Girls' name is Yael. They accept them because they is Yale. So if your name is Yael, you have a good chance of getting into Yale.
Yalla. Here everybody is Yalla.
Yalla.
Everybody says Yalla, Yalla.
No, that's not Yala. It's Y-A-L-A. Yala. And that's not Y-L-A-L-E. So it's not the same letter. It's not going to help you. All right. Miyam Rinan Kevan the chesiv across the Shabbos oneg. It says that Shabbos you're supposed to convey yourself to have nice meals, to enjoy Shabbos kavah. It's konveya to b'chayev it in tavel, to b'chayev in shmunas u'maisa. It becomes tevel. I feel with davar shalom g'malachto. I'll deal with davar shalom g'malachto. Kavah with davar shalom g'malachto lo kavah. Only if it's completely processed, completely finished, drying out, then it's konveya. Amalei Shabbos kavah beim davar shalom g'malachto. Beim davar shalom g'malachto. Even if it's not processed, it's koveva. Amalei ve'ema Shabbos dumi the chatzir. Why shouldn't Shabbos be like a chatzir? When you bring food into your chatzir, it's also mechayiv in shmunas u'maisa. The chatzir ain't a kovas el davar shalom g'malachto. Af Shabbos not tigava el davar shalom g'malachto. It should be similar to a chatzir. Amalei liman aruch biyadena. We have a tradition in our hands. Shabbos kovas beim davar shalom g'malachto. Beim davar shalom g'malachto. They have a tradition. You can't break with tradition. Tradition is tradition. Soira. Amar Mazutra, Breder of Nachman, Afanana Mitanina. We also learn the same thing in a Beitzah of Odamar Rebbe Lezer and a Mishnah actually. Odamar Rebbe Lezer, Omen Adam al Muksa Erev Shabbos B'Shvius. This is our Mishnah. Time with the Shvius. The whole reason why does the Mishnah specify that it's Shvius? Time with the Shvius. The Lav Bari Suriyu. There's no Chiv and Shumas U'Maitzasu. Ha B'Shar Shnei Shavua Hachanam Midias. So let's say it's one of the other 6 years. So now you're the Chiv and Shumas U'Maitzos. It's Aser, my time. Alam Mishum the Shabbos Kava. Shabbos Koveya. And here we're talking Muksa, which is things which are drying out, which are not processed. So you see the Shabbos is Koveya. Where it says, Shiny Hasam, Kevan. Where it says low. Shiny Hasam, Kevan, the Amar Mikani Yochel, Amachar Kavale. Ilave. It's only because he designates, I'm going to eat tomorrow, from here tomorrow. So even though they're drying out, it's kilu like he's gomer the malacha, gomer they're processing, because he says, I'm ready to eat it right now. Ihach my area Shabbos. Why does the Mishnah specify Shabbos? Afilu b'chol nami. And we're talking about the Gemara malacha over here, even during the week it should be also. Why does the Mishnah say Shabbos? Hakamash malan, the Chiddush of Shabbos, the Gemara says, the tevel muchan hu eitzel Shabbos. You're going too fast here. He's not letting me read the pages.
Look at this. It's empty here.
There's words here. The Chiddush of Shabbos is telling me something else that normally you don't think it's Trumas Maisos on Shabbos. But if it's Shvius, it says no Trumas Maisos. Why does it tell me Shabbos? Shabbos is to tell me that by designating it that you're going to eat from here tomorrow, so it removes the muksa status. It removes the muksa status, and therefore, if you're masaking it, not during your Shvius, you take off Trumas Maisos, you're not allowed to do it on Shabbos. It's like Tikkun Mana, but you're not allowed to do it on Shabbos. If you do it b'diavad, you're allowed to eat it. It's no longer considered muksa because you said mikana in hotel, so therefore you designated it. It's not called muksa, and tevel is mukhan with Eisel Shabbos if you designate it beforehand. Hope you enjoyed today's daf. Check out my new video. Or we'll start branding T-shirts soon. I have to decide what to write on the T-shirts. Maybe some sweatshirts, sunglasses. Shmuel thinks I'm crazy, right? You think I'm crazy, Shmuel? You think I'm crazy? You think I'm funny? Yeah. Alright. At least I got that. These things have a sense of humor. Alright. Thanks, Shmuel. Give me 5. Give me 5. Yeah! Ooh. Alright. Bye.